they can hear us.
Okay, right, we're all good to go.
Yay, fantastic.
So hello and welcome to our first ever live streaming. So I'm Katrina.
And I'm Jeanette, and we're also joined this evening by the lovely Naomi, who's normally in the background doing all the technical stuff, and also the lovely Liz. So you have the four of us here joining you this evening. So thank you very much for spending some time with us.
Now, so please feel free to ask us any questions that you want to ask us in the comments bar. But we're going to start off by talking to you about our plans for our quilting projects for 2024. So, Jeanette, what are you going to be up to then?
Well, we've had a bit of a conversation before this, and we've realised we've somewhere over Christmas and New Year, we've switched personalities, haven't we? Because you're being really organised, and I'm being less organised.
My New Year's resolution, to be more organised.
And I'm going to be more like Katrina. Which will be great. So I've just got sort of overall goals, but you've got some detailed plans, haven't you?
I have. So I had a massive clear out of my sewing room because it was a real mess. And what I did was I got all my unfinished projects and I've listed them in my beautiful book here that was made for me by my lovely friend Marie. Just give you a shout out, Marie. So this is all my projects.
I'm just counting them up.
Don't count because it's in double figures. And
that's not bad.
And then
that's not bad.
Get me with the organised bit.
Yeah, look.
These are the quilts that I want to make in 2024.
Oh, that's quite a long list as well.
And these are my challenges.
I like that, challenges.
So,
well, I've just got 4 ideas, 4 overall goals that I want to achieve this year, but they're sort of quite high level at this point, and I think I'll probably fill in the detail as I go along.
What are these ideas?
Well, the first one is definitely finishing a little bit like you. I'm not going to list my UFOs. I sort of know what most of them are, or I like to refer to them as works in progress, so WIPs rather than UFOs, because to my mind, a UFO is something that's completely dropped off in my radar and gone in my box, and the lid's gone on, and it hasn't seen the light of day for a long time.
Yeah.
Whereas a work in progress is something that isn't finished yet, but
it will be finished.
And it's still on my mental radar. I know it's there.
Yeah, I like
It's just
that.
I haven't had the time to get back and finish it off.
I clearly need to add a new page, WIPs as well as UFOs.
WIPs and UFOs. So, you know, there's a fine line, I think, between the two. When does a WIP become a UFO and vice versa? I don't know. So this is definitely the year of finishing off all those works in progress. And for me, they're all the things I sew for myself.
Right.
Because they are always the ones that take the lowest priority.
Yeah.
I don't have the time, and it's not that I can't finish them, it's just I don't always get the time to get to them to finish them. So I'm going to find time and schedule in sort of time to actually work on those things and move them forward. Even if I don't finish them, just move them forward, keep them moving.
Yeah, well, that's good. So, can I tell you about my challenge?
Yes, I was going to ask you about your challenges, because that's...
This is my biggest challenge. So I bought these, what is it? It's 8 fat quarters. I bought this at the Festival of Quilts probably 8 years ago. And I just can't bring myself to cut into them. And so my challenge this year is to actually use these up and cut into them. So if any of you have got any ideas, because this is really precious, you can tell, can't you? If any of you have got any ideas, please let me know what you think I should make with 8 fat quarters of purples, teals in batiks.
Yeah.
Have you got any ideas?
Not yet, but leave it with me. I'll let it float around in my head. It normally churns something out. It needs to fulfill its fabric destiny. That's what I say about fabric. It needs to fulfill its fabric destiny. They're too lovely not to use.
I know.
Too lovely not to use. So that's one of the challenges.
So we've had lots and lots of comments coming through. Everyone just saying hi from all over the globe.
Oh, crikey.
Oh, how
we've also
lovely.
got a hi, Granny. Are you making me?
That's not me.
Year?
Oh, hello, Harry.
Quilt.
I knew I could rely on you. Bless you.
What quilt are you making
I
for
will
him?
make you whatever quilt your little heart desires. You tell me what you want, my darling, and I'll make it for you.
What colours does he like?
Well, he's football mad, so it's probably going to have to be red and white, isn't
okay.
it?
Okay.
Oh, that's
hello,
brilliant.
Harry. Hello, Harry. Yeah.
We have another comment from Andrea. Hello, ladies. I've been making a hexagonal quilt, but I'm having difficulty sewing the second row on as it keeps curling up. Any tips?
Is she using papers? I don't know. I'm assuming that's got papers in it.
She is.
I dry iron them to lay them flat again.
Okay.
And do it from both sides. Particularly if you've got papers, when you put heat on papers, it will stretch the fibres and curl one way. So do it from both
then
sides.
go the other way as well.
And that hopefully might help to keep things flat. Yeah,
Hopefully.
we're both nodding. We're both nodding.
We'll see if she gives us more feedback. We've got a hello from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
France.
Oh my goodness.
Kent, Wales. We've got lots of
Very exotic.
viewers. Ours are silly.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, hello, it's
Kaylee
lovely.
Says hi, you know, who works in the shop.
Oh.
Luna, around the corner.
Oh, thank you all for tuning in. This is just amazing because we didn't know if this was going to work or not, being as it's our first one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So we actually had a question come through to us like a couple days ago.
Okay.
So what are your desert island notions? So if you were banished to a desert island, what would you bring with you that's sewing notion-like?
Well, you'd have no electricity.
Yeah.
So for me, it would have to be a really good pair of scissors, needle, thread, some beautiful embroidery floss, and a nice piece of antique linen. And then I could sit there in the sun, I'm assuming it's going to be hot, and I could just sit there and do some gentle embroidery.
Oh, embroidery. I would say either cross stitch, linen. I like to work on linen, but my eyesight's not great, so I'd have to have really strong magnification glasses to be able to do that. Or it would have to be my English paper piecing, because like I say, you know, you'd have to bank on the fact we've got no electric, so it'd have to be something by hand. So English paper piecing or a nice cross stitch.
Cool. I've been told that I'm not loud enough, but it's because I'm not mic'd up.
You're not
so I'm
mic'd.
gonna project. If you answer fully the questions.
Okay.
Okay.
So when setting seams and pressing them, do you use steam? And how hot should the iron be?
Oh,
That's
now,
controversial.
It is controversial. We actually did a video to steam or not to
Yeah, you
steam
did.
once before, didn't we?
Yeah. Oh, you did it.
For me, when I'm setting seams, I press along where I've just sewn. So I set the seam first before I flip it and press it flat. And I only steam when my whole quilt is together and I've got the whole quilt, so I can't move the fabric. Then I steam. How about you? What do you do?
I'm a bit of a rogue. Sometimes I steam, but it depends what fabric I'm using. If I'm using pre-cuts, not so much, because they can shrink with the moisture in and then it alters the size of your block. Whereas if it's something I've cut from fat quarters, I tend to steam press before I cut. So it's already had steam on it. So if there's going to be any shrinkage, it's already happened.
Good
but
idea.
you can steam carefully. And I have my iron on the hottest setting. I don't know.
That was the question, wasn't it?
Yeah, as hot as you can get it.
Yeah,
but it is a personal preference thing. You do, if you're using steam, you do have to be careful you don't distort your blocks and change the shape and size of your blocks.
That's always one of those questions, isn't it?
It is. It is. I hope that helps. But it's fine if you don't steam. You can dry iron.
Okay. How long have you guys been quilting for?
Ooh.
Well, I actually did English paper piecing when I was a child. That was in the days when I sat with my mum and we cut up old Christmas cards and things to make our templates. I can remember having a compass to do the circle and then doing all the lines to make the hexagon. So that was really when I was a child, and then I stopped and didn't do anything, and then really took up patchwork and quilting about 15 years ago with gusto and haven't looked back.
Yeah, I'm similar. I'm probably only about 12 years for patchwork and quilting, but I've always made things, but not always with needle and thread.
Right.
Mum really wasn't much of a sewer. She did some dressmaking, but most of the time she didn't sort of do any hobby sewing, if you like. Dad was the big crafter in our family, but he would do anything and everything. If there was something new that came out to try, Dad would have a go at it. So I think I got my sort of love for crafting from him. So I've always made things as an adult. I've cross-stitched for a number of years. I went away from it and then came back to it. But actually patchwork and quilting, I think I've only been doing it for about 11 or 12 years, I would say. So similar timescales.
That's really strange because I thought you'd been doing it a lot longer.
No, I've just
thought that.
thrown myself in there and, really submerged myself into the world of patchwork.
Yeah.
So
it's great, isn't it?
Yeah,
I love it.
It's completely addictive. Completely addictive.
Okay. We've got a hello from Jenny.
Oh, hello, Jenny.
Hello, Jenny.
Oh, I didn't say. How blue.
What's your all-time favourite quilting project that you've worked on? If it's a video, make sure you pitch it.
Wow, that's really, really hard because
It's too many.
I don't know that I've got a favourite.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with that one.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with that one.
Yeah. I'm fickle. It's whatever I'm recently finished. I go, oh, I love it, and then I move on to the next one.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that. I mean, I do like working with pre-cuts.
Yeah.
I love working with pre-cuts, but I can't say that I've got a real favourite. They sort of come and go.
Yeah,
really.
I think if I was going to pick one, I really enjoyed doing my Quilt As You Go quilt.
Yeah.
And that's actually on my plans for this year, to do another Quilt As You Go, hopefully for here. So watch this space.
Oh.
Spoiler.
Watch this space.
Watch this space. But yeah, I really enjoyed making the Quilt As You Go and doing it. And it came together really nicely. But yeah, I like it all.
We've got Cynthia from Alabama.
Cynthia,
Any
Alabama.
tips on getting good sharp corners when binding? I've been quilting for a good while, but still struggle with this.
Yeah.
Hi, Cynthia. So when you're doing your mitered corners, I would always suggest that when you come along the edge where you're sewing your binding on, if you can come off at a 45-degree angle with your sewing and then you flip it back, and I always find that works really well. In fact, we have got a tutorial, haven't we?
One?
I did do a tutorial
that would have been you.
on the mitered corner, and I find that works if you actually sew into the corner before you flip it back. I hope that helps.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it does take practice, and you need to do it sort of quite often, quite frequently, because quite often when I first started, the gap between when I bound something and then the next quilt was so, I would be like, oh, how do I do that again? And you sort of lose the knack. So the more you do, and I used to practice on small things. So quite often I would bind a cushion or a small table mat or something, and then you just keep practicing, and you just get better at it. It's one of those.
Yeah. Hope that helps.
We've got lots of people asking about the quilt behind you. Would you like to briefly tell people about it?
Yes, this is one we've just filmed actually this week. It was Jacob's Ladder. I did the blocks. We've released a video which was just before Christmas. Naomi might know the date, but it was just before Christmas, so have a look at that. Jacob's Ladder. And I said I would come back with a finished quilt with an update, and we've done that this week. So that is Jacob's Ladder. It was from a layer cake called Speckled from Ruby Star Society. So the latest video tells you all the requirements, what I used, and sort of some decisions. It will be coming soon. Apparently, I'm being told by Naomi, coming soon. So it will be out this month. Yeah, I don't know, this week, next week, shortly. Watch this space.
Okay. I'm making a quilt with lots of flying geese at the moment. Do you press your corner blocks back before or after you trim them? That's from Sophie.
Oh, to check if you've got the right size into the corners, I'm assuming. Sorry, was that Sophie, did you say?
Yes.
I'm assuming she means when you've attached and press it open to make sure it's...
Yeah, well.
You could do
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, I think I've understood that, but I'm not sure.
I'm making a quilt with lots of flying geese at the moment. Do you press your corner blocks back before or after you trim them?
I do it before just to check.
Yes, I'm with you now. Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I thought I did, but it was always good to check.
Yes, so press it back.
Press it back, check you're happy with where it's all come out.
Before you trim it.
And then trim. Yeah.
We've got, hi Granny, Billy wants to say hi.
Hi Billy.
And do you have to make a quilt for Billy now as well?
Well, I probably will now.
Can't leave one out, can you? That's great.
Someone under the name E Marie, not sure if that's their name. Do you have a pattern that you've done multiple times? So is there a pattern that you often go back to and will use?
As in a pattern, a block?
A block,
a
yeah,
block.
let's say a block. Or a pattern, it's completely up to you guys.
Did you want to go?
Well, one of my real favourites is the 10-inch square that you cut. So you start with a 10-inch square. I can't think of the name of the block at the moment. Give me a minute. So you start with your 10-inch square. You cut off 3.5 inches, and then you shuffle the blocks. So you put them back together, and then you turn it the other way, cut it in half, and shuffle the blocks. And I think there is a tutorial, and I'm still trying to think of the name of the block.
Was it your no measure layer cake square one?
It possibly is. Patio cake. I knew it would come to me eventually.
Cake. Oh,
Patio cake. There we are. So I think there is a tutorial on that one. That is my real favourite go-to if I've got to make one really quickly. Because we did a Halloween video once, and I needed to make 2 quilts really quickly, and that's what I did. Yeah, start with the 10-inch square.
I like a log cabin block, so I've made, of all the quilts I've made, I've probably made log cabin in different guises more than any other. But I like all the blocks, so every time you see me, I'm going, oh, this is my favourite block. But I don't use quilt patterns. I'm really bad at following patterns. I tend to go off on my own.
Yeah.
So I don't tend to use patterns. And also for me, some of the enjoyment is figuring out how to make something and doing the maths, and which is a bit sad. But I always say to people, I have a calculator in every room, even next to my bed, so that when I wake up in the middle of the night and I go, oh, how many 10-inch squares can I get from that piece of fabric? I can sort of sit there and work it out. I'm a bit sad like that.
You need to get out more.
It's sad but true. But I enjoy the whole design and figuring it out process. So I my mind needs to be challenged.
Yeah.
So it's a bit sad. I've just admitted that live.
I know, to all of these people
to the whole
watching.
World.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all good. It's all good.
So have you got any more questions?
Anything else, Liz?
Question from Jenny. Are you doing any more little sewing projects?
Little sewing projects.
Little.
Yes.
What are they? I don't know.
Yeah, we will be doing some more smaller projects throughout this year rather than
just big ones.
All big quilts. Yeah, there will be some smaller ones.
I like to intersperse small projects with big ones because you get sort of immediate results for it. And also they're really good at practicing techniques and honing your skills.
Absolutely.
Can I just get you to move your mic further up?
Further up?
Be careful, people can, a little bit further up, just because it's backed in a bit.
Oh, sorry. Is that because I'm getting too excited?
Yes. Do you like FPP?
Foundation paper piecing. No.
No.
No. She says it's her favourite.
Oh, I admire people that do it. I'm not very good at it because the simple truth is I don't do it enough.
I'm not very good at it because I always find I either waste too much fabric, or where I'm trying not to waste fabric, I end up with it too short. So I do get a bit frustrated. Yeah. Maybe it's something that we both need to practice.
It's a practice thing. It's like anything. The more time you spend doing something, the better at it you get.
Yeah.
So it is definitely, I always think I should like to do more of it, but other things interest me more, I would say.
I think that's fair to say, actually. You
Otherwise, I would
gravitate to what you enjoy doing, don't you?
Yeah. So it's not my favourite, but I wouldn't discount it either. If there was something I really wanted to make and it had foundation paper piecing in it, I would do it.
We've got someone commenting saying, we want to thank you, she wants to thank you for all of your left-handed videos.
That's you.
Watching you has taught how much, sorry, I'm not reading this very well. Watching you has taught me how to cut a measure correctly and increase my confidence so much.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased.
It is really difficult because I'm right-handed, but in some of the workshops I teach left-handed people.
Yeah.
And I almost have to try to sort of explain to them how to do it. I almost feel like I'm turning my brain upside down to figure it out. So I can sort of relate to how they are feeling when I'm doing something right-handed, of trying to work it out.
It was quite hard, actually, all the way through when I was learning techniques, because everyone that taught me was right-handed. So it's quite difficult.
Yeah.
So I sometimes have to practice to do it right-handed, because if I'm teaching a class, I've got to be able to do it both ways.
Yeah.
But I'm really pleased. That's good news.
No, that is good. And that's good that, you know, we've got a left-handed and a right-handed.
Absolutely. The dream team.
It is the dream team.
Do you have any tips for beginners facing common sewing challenges? Any tips to help you out?
Practice your 1/4 of an inch seam. It's really important. If you can get your 1/4 of an inch seam accurate, that saves a lot of problems later on, and accurate cutting as well.
Yes.
So sort of practice those things.
I think accurate cutting initially is quite hard when you're first learning to cut with a rotary cutter and a ruler. So if you get the opportunity to go to a workshop or a class that teaches you, because there is a technique to cutting, isn't there, with a rotary cutter. Sure. So if you can get the accuracy on your cutting and the accuracy on your 1/4 inch seams, hopefully that's answered your question.
I mean, quite often what happens is you'll start with little inaccuracies at the beginning and they snowball as you're making things, and it gets worse and worse and worse, and it's really off-putting when things, it becomes stressful. And
I think the main thing is to enjoy it. Absolutely. Because there are perfections not out there.
No.
Even those of us that have been doing patchwork and quilting a long time, that we still see little imperfections.
Yeah.
So the main thing is to just enjoy it.
And be kind to yourself. Realise you're on a quilting journey, and you know, sort of accept that part that actually, you know, to begin with, things might not match exactly, but like you say, just go
and
with it.
Never point out your mistakes.
Never point out your mistakes.
Never point out your mistakes.
Who has the biggest fabric stash?
Probably you.
Who has the biggest fabric stash?
I'm going to say you.
Oh, I don't know if I want to admit this on camera.
I think you. I'm pretty confident it's you.
Well, if I say that the largest room in our house is actually my sewing room, the largest bedroom, I should say, in our house is actually my sewing room, does that answer the question?
Yeah, well, I'm just basing it on
isn't it?
the video we did where we did the storage. And I just looked at where you had all your little mini charms in.
Oh, yes, my 2 chest of drawers with just mini charms.
With just mini charms. Just on that alone, I'm sort of extrapolating, really, just from that, what your other fabric stash must look like.
See, I'm really concerned that we've done this now, and I know members of my family are going to be watching, and I've had to admit this on camera.
I don't have that issue. They all know. They all know already.
Do you have a favourite machine?
I do.
Do you?
I do. Mine is my Benina. My small Benina that I use. I've got the Benina 350 PE, and that is my absolute favourite. That is my go-to. I have also got Janome, which is the bigger machine with the wider throat.
Yeah.
But if my house was on fire and I had to save something, it would be my Benina.
I'm not that fussy about sewing machines as long as they do what they want them to do. But I suppose the one you use the most is probably the one I'd say. So for me, that is my Janome Horizon, because it's got the bigger throat. So when it comes to quilting quilts, it's easier.
Yeah.
But I'm not really that bothered. If it sews and it does what I want to do, I'm happy.
How did you guys end up at the sewing studio?
Oh my goodness, I can't remember. How did I end up here?
How did we end up here? How did we end up here? It's the question. Well, I live locally. You live locally.
Yes.
So it's my closest fabric shop. I should finish that sentence. So I was in and out all the time anyway.
Yeah, and me. So probably their best customer, really.
Destiny.
In and out buying stuff, you know. And then ended up teaching here.
Yeah. I got into teaching a little bit by accident, and I was actually doing a beginner's class somewhere else, and Stacey from here sort of said, oh, you teach, don't you? Will you come and do some workshops for us? So that was a while ago.
Yeah.
But like I say, I was in and out all the time, chatting to people.
Probably their best customers,
buying
aren't we?
fabric. Well, I used to work close by as well, so, you know, walking distance at lunchtime, drive past it twice a day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Come in on your day off,
Spend
spend all your
all my
wages.
wages buying fabric.
Someone said they're a beginner. Where do they start?
Where do they start?
With our videos.
Yes, our video. You did a beginner series.
I did do a beginner series, and I would always recommend that you start with a pre-cut. So you can start with your charm pack. So if you have a look for charm pack videos, a charm pack is 5-inch squares that have already been cut out for you, and join them together. And what I would say is just enjoy the process. Don't get too hung up with the technicalities. Enjoy the process, because when I've taught beginners in the past, everybody's so pleased with what they've created. Don't look at any imperfections, never point out your mistakes, and just enjoy it.
I would say, find a class or find somebody else that needs a sewing buddy, so you can sort of learn together and also sort of get motivated and keep inspiring each other, or a local quilt group. See if there's a local quilt group in your area that you can join. You'll learn a lot from other people. Like I say,
quilt
just
groups
enjoy
are great, actually,
Yeah,
aren't
but
they?
just take some basic classes. Like I say, but online, there's so much resource now online for beginners, and it is just a matter of practice, for sure. I hope that helps, and good luck. We always like to see new quilters.
Someone's just asked Betsy Turner, how do you decide what type of quilting to do on each quilt?
Oh, now. Shall I start? Because
you start.
Yeah, Naomi just went like that to me, because we've just literally filmed a video this week where I've done a little bit of an introduction to quilting on your home sewing machine, and I talk a little bit about some of the decisions I make when I came to quilting some quilts. But it's tricky. It's always the one that it's my biggest stumbling block, that sometimes, you know, as much as I do it, I think, crikey, how am I going to quilt this? Are you the same?
I think usually when I'm putting the blocks together, I'm trying to think about it at that point, because I think there's nothing worse than when you've created it and you think, oh, this is beautiful, I actually don't want to now put the quilting in the wrong place. So I do try to give it some thought beforehand.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work. No, I've got 2 quilts at home, and the whole reason they stalled was because I couldn't decide how to quilt them, and so they've now on top of a cupboard, and 5 years later they're still not quilted because I haven't had time to go back to them. But it is the biggest stumbling block. Have a look around on the internet, have a look at how other people have quilted things, and if you've made a specific style quilt, I would say search for that one and just see how other people tackled it. Yeah, that's a really good inspiration.
Really good idea.
But yeah, have a look, because, you know, I recognise that it's the biggest problem. And if I haven't decided while I'm making it, what often I will do is I will leave it somewhere in my eye line so I can keep going and have a look at it to see if I can get inspired.
That's a good idea, actually, because I don't. I just fold them up.
Yeah, I have to see it. I'm very visual.
Yeah.
But that sometimes can help me decide. Also, the other thing I'll say is time. Sometimes, you know, you're influenced by actually realistically how much time you've got to quilt something. As to what you choose to do on it, and who it's for as well, and the purpose. But lots of things. There's no easy answer really to that one. That's quite a hard one.
Just a couple shout outs to the comments. Nelly has made 2 quilts from your tutorials.
Yay! Well done, Nelly.
Well done, Nelly. Brilliant.
Yvonne said, I think it's about like that. I just want to say I adore you both, and I'm so glad I found your videos.
Oh, fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
We adore us too.
And then we've got Mary. Hello from California. How do you manage the bleeding from red and purple fabrics? 3 washes in warm water and multiple colour catchers to remove from the bleeding. Fabrics of good quality, quilting cotton.
Oh, wow.
Shall I tell you what I do before I even have used it and cut it in a quilt? I will take a piece of it and I will dunk it into boiling hot water to see how much the colour actually runs. Because, you know, if it runs boiling hot water, it's going to tell you. It's a tricky one. Sometimes I'll steer away from using a fabric if I think it's going to bleed and run too much, particularly, you know, if you're doing something with like a background where it's really going to spoil it. I know people that have had red and, you know, their quilts have come out pink when they've washed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The colour catcher things sometimes catches some of it, but sometimes it depends on how much it runs. I mean, your batiks there sometimes run.
Yes. Yeah,
just
that's
because of
right.
how they're manufactured.
It's not so bad when you've got the dark ones. It's when you've got like red and white that you've got a problem.
And you can pre-wash things. I mean, I don't tend to for quilts, but if you know it's going to be a fabric that's going to run, you can pre-wash to hopefully get some of that dye out first.
I don't tend to pre-wash.
I don't.
But I would say I think sometimes it depends on the make or the quality of the fabric. That's really disappointing when you've spent so much time making it.
It's awful, yeah.
But I haven't really got an answer for that. Sorry.
Aleste said, I have a few stash of batiks and I don't know what I should make. I'm a beginner, so don't really like Y seams.
Yeah.
I did make the Christmas table runner that Jeanette did the tutorial for.
Oh, right. Was that the 9-patch one? Yeah, it could be the 9. Oh, it could be the star. Probably the 9-patch because it was just squares.
What would you make from a batik?
Well, I think batiks work with any of the patterns.
Yeah. Did you say she was a beginner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably start by cutting them into squares. And then look at some of the tutorials we've got, because some of the tutorials we've got, whilst it says it's for a layer cake or a charm pack, if you've cut them into squares, it may be that you've cut them into 8-inch squares or whatever. It will still work if you have a look at some of those tutorials. I just love batiks. I think anything would work, really.
Yeah, they're interchangeable. I mean, that would be a good quilt, not necessarily completely for a beginner, but once you've got a bit of confidence, you know, there's a few sort of match points there, but there's no Y seams. There's quite a lot of quilts now don't use Y seams. There's quite a lot of tricks that you can do to make blocks that would have had wide seams, but no longer do. But I would say just have a look again on the internet, find a pattern you love, but you can use batiks just like any other.
Yeah, for anything. So just
cotton.
enjoy the process. That's what I would say.
I quite like a log cabin quilt.
Yeah.
And batiks are quite good with log cabin because they're quite stable. With cotton, sometimes you can distort a log cabin block.
Yeah.
But actually, the batiks are a bit more stable, and you're less likely to.
Or the other one is the half square triangle or the hourglass block, because, like you're saying, they're more stable. So that might be something to have a look at those blocks.
But find something you love. Yeah.
Have you guys spoken about that?
This? Yeah. No. Did you want me to mention?
The tablecloth, you mean? I'm frightened I'm going to spill my tea on it.
It's fine. Yeah, well, this I made, it's a scrap quilt. And I actually made, this is the second one, same colours that I made. I made one, I don't even know how many years ago, and it was actually for a workshop here. And also for a talk I was doing to a local Women's Institute, WI group. And I was demonstrating how you could take the two same blocks and make them two completely different quilts.
All right.
And there's one quilt that doesn't look like this, and this was the second quilt that used the same blocks, and it's all made from scraps and leftover fabrics. And when I made the first one, my eldest sister really loved it, so I ended up giving that one away because I thought I would just make another one for that demonstration point and also to have it for myself. But it's taken a little while because I've had to collect all the right colour fabrics again for it. So it was the same colourways with the navies, the teals, and the reds. And it's one of my challenges for this year is to actually get this finished, because it's actually been like this for, I would probably say, about 4 years, just waiting for the borders to go on. And I've got the fabrics to do the borders, but it's just one of those that I haven't found the time to do it. So I've brought it back out.
Well, maybe we should have a challenge that we do a video with, you've got a UFO, or you call it a WIP, work in progress, and I've got one, and maybe we should have a challenge to get them finished.
Finish them.
What about that, Naomi, for a video? That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it?
I accept that challenge.
You're on. No, don't think so.
Well, shall I just mention what else
yeah.
I've brought.
Oh,
because this is
go
also
for
a
it.
spoiler.
Oh, go for it.
Because one of the things, you know, we were talking about is what we want to do next year. And one of my overarching goals was this time last year, I felt I had all my scraps under control. And 12 months later...
Is that possible, to
Yes.
ever have all your scraps under control?
Yeah, I felt like I had.
Okay.
This year, not so much. So I got given some people's scraps, I've made more projects, I've accumulated more scraps, and I now feel they're beginning to go a little bit out of control again. So for Christmas, I've bought myself the pineapple trim tool from Creative Grids.
Right.
Because it just uses, I think you just need 1 3/4 inch strips.
Oh, wow.
And I'm thinking this would be really good to blast through some of those scraps that I've accumulated over the last, 12 months, but,
Yeah.
before that. So this is going to be a project for this year, ongoing project, and I'm thinking I'll do a scrap quilt with this using my scrappy scraps, as I call them. And it's probably going to be a quilt I'm going to make for charity, because that's one of my other goals this year, to do more charity quilts.
Oh, that's good.
So I'll be demonstrating this on a YouTube tutorial somewhere near you very soon.
Wow.
Yeah, so subscribe. Yeah, Naomi's going, tell people to subscribe. So if you want to see that, scraps. And it's actually one of my goals. I've set myself a target of 12 scrap projects this year, so averaging one a month.
12?
12.
That's very ambitious, isn't it?
Yeah, they might be big, they might be small.
So how many work in progress have you got already that you...
12.
Right, okay. And you're going to do another 12?
Yep.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So by the end of the year, all your work in progress are going to be finished, and your 12 of these are going to be finished.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
The goal is to move them forward. I don't think this quilt will be finished by the end of the year, because I'll be accumulating more scraps to make it. But
of course.
I need to be working on, if not, some things will get finished, some things won't. But I need to clear some stuff, so I got room for more new stuff.
Oh.
More new stuff.
You've spoken about everything.
I think so. Did
I
you?
think so.
Yeah. Was there anything else in your to-do goals?
Well,
have we covered everything in yours?
when I looked at the quilts that I want to make this year,
Yeah.
these are not necessarily for the sewing studio. However, some of them may end
might
up
be.
as tutorials here.
Yeah.
I really want to do a stained glass quilt where you use bright batiks and black. In fact, we had a caller asking about
the
batiks,
stained
so
glass.
that might be one. So to hold on to your batiks.
Hold on to your hat.
So a stained glass quilt. And I noticed that there was a bit of a theme going on here, that some of these, there's quite a few of them that actually end up on point. So I think this is
okay.
going to be my
The year of
on point.
the on point year. The year of the on point. Oh, that's
Exactly.
interesting. So what else have you got there
Exactly.
then? Just pick out a couple.
And the other one I want to do is I got given a load of Liberty fabric, like scraps. They were end pieces. And I actually want to do an English paper pieced coverlet.
Oh,
So
yeah.
not a quilt.
Yeah.
In all
Yeah.
Liberty fabrics, but I don't think I'm going to get that done in a year. Do
No,
you?
that's a long-term project, but it's good to have some long-term projects in there
I
as
think
well.
that's going to be a while.
Yeah.
And I'd also, when I went to Birmingham for the Festival of Quilts, I saw some little appliques where they were like mini pictures using the tiniest little scraps.
Oh, okay.
And they were put under mesh, so they weren't bond webbed.
Yeah.
They were laid
Yeah.
on, and then you put the mesh over,
Yeah,
and then
and
you
you
free
s-
motion
yeah, I've seen
over
that
that.
done.
And that's something that I'd like to
Oh,
do.
okay.
So that's on my
you've got
list
some
as
scrappy
well.
things in there.
I have actually,
Yeah.
haven't I?
Yeah.
And I've got this one here. It's called Flowers and Doilies. So this is something that I've got all the components for. I've been going around the charity shops buying up old doilies
Yeah.
with bits of embroidery. And it was in Today's Quilter magazine years ago. And I've got all the bits now to make it.
that one.
And this is going to be the year that that gets made.
Okay.
So, yeah, but there is quite a few on point. And then my challenges for this year are to improve my free motion applique, my free motion quilting. We'll just move over that quickly. Improve my embroidery skills, to do more zips. Now,
Do
I
more
knew that this would
zips.
be music to your ears. As you taught me
Do
how
more
to do a
zips.
zip. More zips.
I think we had a comment that I was reading over Christmas and New Year where somebody said, thank you particularly for the help on the zips. So yes, we're getting nations to
Everyone's doing, don't fear the zip.
Don't fear the zips.
So, and using up all of the scraps, because we've all got loads and loads of scraps. So I want to try and use up more scraps.
Yeah, well, some of the things I make then, you might be interested in doing.
Yeah.
Some of those.
Yeah. Well, I feel another tutorial coming on,
I feel
Jeanette.
lots of tutorials possibly.
Another joint one. So, and my biggest challenge, as I said earlier, was to cut these fabrics and make clothes.
Make clothes.
That's my real biggie this year, is just to make one item of clothing that I can actually wear.
Diversifying into clothes making.
Indeed.
Very good.
Had lots of great comments.
Oh, have we?
Everyone's been loving it.
Oh.
Did you open the question to everyone on what they might want to see you guys do live next?
Yes, yes. Did you want to do that?
So thank you for all your comments, and this has been great because it's been our first YouTube live. I think it's been well received. So perhaps you'd like to let us know what else you would like us to do, and if we were to do another YouTube live with Double Trouble here, what sorts of things would you like to see?
Yes, what would you like to hear us talk about? That would be good. And any other ideas for any other tutorials or videos going forward? Always pleased to have your suggestions.
Someone said, can I look this back too? I think that means, can I watch this when it's not live? Can you tell everyone yes?
Yes, you can. You will be able to watch this live.
Not live.
Sorry, you will be able to watch this live stream, but not live. That was really badly done.
Well, I want to go home and watch it and see what we look like.
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to.
Oh, I'm going to.
Thank you, everybody, and I hope you'll join